magandang araw po sa inyong lahat.
Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening sa inyong lahat.
Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat.
Ako nga pala si Jean Kenneth M. Ilagan.
Ako si Louis Benedict Ignacio.
I am Albert Alvin H. De Jesus.
This is Dr. Giselle Barion.
This is Telma Maranya.
This is Attorney Dwight Ramos.
I am Dr. Evelyn Songko and I am happy to be with you.
Ikinagagalak ko makasama kayong lahat sa isa na namang makabuluhang kwentuhan dito sa Bridges.
Excited naman ako sa introduction mo, Dr. Wing. And I'm really so excited to be here.
It's really my pleasure to be invited here because this is a very good platform po. Not to be only bridging faith, hope, and love, but at the same time bridging the bond between the alumni and their alma mater.
Kaya tayo merong Santa Cruzan as a culminating activity of our devotional practices to the Blessed Mother, because all devotions to the Blessed Mother should always lead to Jesus.
Ang mga popular na issues sa mga Pilipino, no? Yung mga may kinalaman sa sikmura, mga economic issues, trabaho, inflation. Pero kahit ganyan pa, makikita na ang mga Pilipino nagbibigay ng attention sa mga political issues gaya ng West Philippine Sea issue.
We need our future generations to meet their own needs without sacrificing also yung mga needs natin na nararanasan natin ngayon. So we need this clean air, malinis na hangin, malinis na tubig, yung lupa natin hindi pa poison, then okay pa yung mga karagatan natin, okay pa yung mga kabundukan natin.
O kaya naman dati maayos ang pagsasamahan ng mag-asawa, bigla na lang may nangyayari na hindi nila inaakala at yung kanilang family bond humihina. Pati yung relasyon nila sa Diyos biglang humihina.
I love you. I love Jesus, Holy Spirit, and Mama Mary. Thank you and God bless.
The PRR is not out there to, lose taxpayers. Pag nalugi yung taxpayers, hindi mo babawasan yung magbabayad ng tax.
First and foremost, we embrace change. We need to cultivate our passion for learning and to be flexible based sa Thomasian values ng commitment, competence, and compassion.
Go back to your core. When things are really, really tough, when you're going through transitions, when you're going through changes, go back to who you are as a person and as a leader. And at the same time, yung core values natin as Thomasians dati, perfect din parate as a guide for me. Always have to be competent, you always have to be committed, and more importantly, the compassion side of it is going to be your edge in any kind of workplace that you're going to be working.
Happy anniversary to Bridges! Here at Bridges, we build bridges of faith, bridges of hope, and bridges of love.
Ang ating bukas ay nagsisimula ngayon. Ang mga sanggol, ang ating kinabukasan, ang ating pag-asa. Bilang ating pag-asa, kailangan ng mga sanggol na maging malusog. Tulungan natin sila sa kanilang paglaki bilang kapaki-pakinabang na kasapi ng tahanan, bayan at simbahan. Mahalaga na ihanda natin sila sa kanilang pagharap sa hamon ng buhay bilang isang mag-aaral. Tulungan natin sila na mapagtagumpayan ang buhay na puno ng pagmamahal at hindi pang-abuso at pang-aapi. Sa unang 1,000 araw ng kanilang buhay na nagsisimula sa paglilihi ng kanilang ina hanggang sa edad 2 at kalahating taong gulang, tulungan natin sila na makamit ang malusog na utak, maayos na immune system, at lakas pisikal. Sa pagkaantala ng kanilang paglaki sa pangangatawan, isip at resistensya sa unang 1,000 araw ng kanilang buhay, sila ay mababansot at hindi na maaaring ibalik ang nawala nilang kakayahan. Sama-sama nating harapin ang hamon sa buhay ng maraming bata sa ating bansa. Makiisa tayo sa unang hakbang tungo sa unang 1,000 araw sa buhay ng mga batang Pilipino.
Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. Ang ating pong episode ngayon ay sa pagtataguyod ng UST Alumni Association Incorporated. Ako po si Dr. Maria Minerva P. Kalimag, Pangulo ng UST Medical Alumni Association. At kasama ko po ngayon sa ating talakayan ay sina Dr. Mary Jean Guno at Miss Bess Asidaw. Magpapakilala po sila. Hello, Jean.
Magandang hapon sa iyo, Dr. Ervi, at sa lahat ng mga nakikinig sa atin ngayon, mga UST alumni, families and friends. So ako po si Dr. Mary Jean Villarreal Guno, isa pong pediatrician at saka pediatric gastroenterology and nutrition consultant, at kasalukuyang nagsisilbi bilang Pangulo ng UST Pax Romana Alumni Association.
Magandang hapon, Jean. Ma'am Bess.
Hi, hello, Dr. Irvi, Dr. Jean, kamusta po kayo dyan? At sa ating mga viewers, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, kung saan man ho kayo naroroon, we are going to present a very good program for all of you today. Ako po ay alumna ng High School Batch 74 at currently ako po ay coordinator ng itong pag-uusapan natin, itong project the first 1,000 days of a child. Ma'am Doc Irvi?
Yes, excited na ako na sa pag-uusapan natin ngayon kasi ito ay tungkol sa ating mga sanggol, no? So, bakit ba ako napunta rito? So, sabihin ko lang na ako po ay nakaraang Pangulo ng Philippine Medical Association, ang samahan po ng lahat ng mga manggagamot sa buong Pilipinas. At ito pong adhikain na ito, o advocacy, ay isa po sa ating flagship program. So before we continue, remind ko lang po ang lahat ng ating viewers to follow us on Facebook. Just look for UST Alumni Association Incorporated. And of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel, the TAC channel, TAC. Bess and Dr. Jean, you know, I am really alarmed, no, di ba, na lumabas sa balita yung resulta ng PISA, yung international exam na binibigay sa ating mga grade 5 students, kung saan ay talagang napakababa ng ating, kumbaga, ranggo, no? So, I always think that many of these children are stunted and that is why they're not ready for academic success. So, Dr. Jean, ano bang masasabi natin na may kinalaman sa first 1,000 days of a child?
That's right, ano? So may sinasabi nga yung mga economists na may demographic sweet spot tayo kasi dun sa population natin, ang dami pang 0 to 5 years of age. And 20-25 years from now, they will be in the workforce. So we have that opportunity to be able to change the story if we can only ensure overall growth, development in this first 1,000 days plus, then we can be assured that school performance will improve, and then productivity will improve, and even the economy of our country will improve 20 to 25 years from now.
Correct.
So, yes, Pambes.
Hindi, ano ko lang, additional viewpoint, yung government naman natin, they recognize itong shortcoming at siguro failure on the part of the government to implement at tingnan nila yung isang sector ng society natin na yung mga marginalized, for example, na hindi na ibibigyan ng tamang guidance or policy. Pero ngayon, nag-enact sila ng law mandating that the mother and child should be given priority. Kaya nga ngayon, marami naman talagang from the civil society na gumagalaw patungkol dito para ma-achieve din ng gusto natin because every one of us, every citizen in this country would like to see a bright future for the children of the Filipinos. Hindi ho ba? Lahat naman tayo ganon. But we just need to tayo matap tayo. And that is why we have this project at lahat tayo ay nag-uugnayan. Iba-ibang mga sectors pero lahat we are thinking of how to implement itong law na to, batas na to.
So, para sa kaalaman ng marami, ang sinasabi pong batas ni Ma'am Bes ay ang Republic Act 11148, ang Kalusugan at Nutrisyon ng Magnanay Act, passed in 2018. So, talaga pong importante na ating harapin din, no? Kung sa abot ng ating makakaya ang lahat ng pwede nating magawa. So, Dr. Jean, how do you propose to conduct interventions from your part, for your part?
Okay, so as our contribution to the UST Alumni Association Inc. this program, we have actually a Commission on Social Action in Pax Romana chaired by Dr. Mads de Rosas Valera. So we plan to work with 1 or 2 barangays within the parish of Santissimo Rosario, which will be launched during a medical mission led by the UST Medical Alumni Association. That's on July 6, jointly again with the UST AAI. So during that time, well, the parenting sessions can happen on the value of human milk at saka yung tinatawag na minimum diet diversity for children 0 to 5 years. Paano ba mag-environmental stimulation para mas ma-develop yung brains nila. And then we plan to distribute handouts as well as meal plans. And then for the pregnant women, the distribution of critical multivitamins or micronutrients such as iron, folic acid, and then even also meal supplements for both the mother and the child. And also the meal during that particular event, we have also been able to tap another alumni, Dr. Edwin Bach Bernabe of the Bernabe's Food Corporation to be able to donate the food for that event. And then we've also coordinated already with the health centers within the Sampaloc area as to how we can collaborate with them to ensure that the women and the children in these barangays receive the health care that they need.
So, nakakatuwa pong pakinggan, di po ba? Kasi hindi lang tayo medical mission, dole out ng gamot, kung hindi talagang pati yung kanilang minds, no, ay bubusugin natin ng knowledge at kaalaman tungkol dyan sa ano ba yung first 1,000 days. So, Ma'am Bes?
Opo, tanong ko lang, kasi syempre mag-uumpisa itong 1,000 days dun sa nanay. Meron ba tayo talagang anong intervention ang pwede natin maibigay, maitulong para ma-prepare natin ang mga mothers or mothers-to-be kung paano nila, how to take care of themselves and of the baby?
Yes, so napaka-importante ng nutrition ng mother. Actually, it starts even during the adolescent period before even they consider actually reproduction. Not to be able to ensure na nutrition is adequate, sleep hygiene is respected, they have physical activity. Then we said for the pregnant women, then ensuring their health through regular checkups, and then providing critical micronutrients that have been shown to prevent illnesses such as iron, zinc, vitamin A, uh, iodine, yung folic acid, so mga critical nutrients. And then, educating them already, preparing them actually for breastfeeding. Yan.
So importante po yung isang nutrient na sinabi si Dr. Jean, no, yung iodine, no? Kasi napapakinggan tayo sa buong Pilipinas. Ang mga bata po na kulang sa iodine, nagkakaroon sila ng cretinism, no? And marami sa mga lugar dito sa Pilipinas, gaya ng mga malalapit sa dagat, akala kasi nila dahil nakakakuha sila ng salt sa dagat ay okay na yung salt na yon. Tapos yung mga nakatira sa mga bulubunduking lugar natin, sila din yung isa sa mga nagkukulang sa nutrient na yan. So, isa yan sa ating ituturo sa mga nanay.
Well, because hindi naman ako naging mother, hindi ako conscious kung ano mga dapat gawin. Pero even so, maski hindi ako mother, kinakailangan ko rin kung ano yung mga natututunan ko sa inyo. For example, pag may nakita ako, siguro dapat i-share ko din, no? Yung mga katulad ng sinasabi niyo po, that's very informative na not just because nasa coastal area ka, parang feeling mo safe ka na kasi nakukuha mo yung mga iodine needs ninyo. Pero totoo. So really, there is a need to educate. Paano po natin anuhin niya ng mga, kunyari sa ating outreach, meron din tayo talagang portion doon na tuturuan natin sila kung ano yung mga, for example, the right nutrition, the right food o paano i-balance ang kanilang mga diet, mga ganun po. Maituturo natin yon.
Well, yes, Ma'am Bess. So, we said, well, basically for the pregnant mother, we can never go wrong by saying na yung pinggang Pinoy. So, more or less, 1/4 nung plato nila is yung carbohydrates. So, kung rice yung kanilang and then merong source ng protein. Whether that protein is animal source, tulad ng galing sa chicken, fish, pork, beef, or pwede rin namang plant-based yung protein, yung mga munggo, beans, or pwede din from eggs or from dairy products. And then, yung kalahati ng plato kung pwedeng vegetables, na it should be containing both a green leafy vegetable at saka may colored fruit or vegetable. No? Kaya hiniwalay na yung colored kasi problema din natin yung vitamin A deficiency. And we said ang mataas sa vitamin A, di ba, are the bright colored vegetables like carrots, kalabasa. And then, of course, water after the meal or even a milk supplement. And hanggat maaari talaga to avoid processed foods kasi pati yung immune system natin na dysregulate kung mataas ang intake ng processed foods. So, if to the mothers, yung basically pinggang Pinoy, to the children, we said the diet diversity should start as early as the 6th month. Hindi yung culturally kasi dito sa ating mga Pilipino, 'di ba, parang 3 araw kalabasa lang, 3 araw carrot. So we said it's accounting for the undernutrition that leads to the stunting. So from 6 months, no matter how small the amount, every time na pakainin yung bata, dapat may 4 food groups na siya aside from human milk.
Oh. Saan ba na-develop yung sa bata na minsan, 'di ba, sabi natin ayaw nila ng gulay. So paano natin sila i-encourage na kumain ng gulay? Ilang buwan ba dapat mag-umpisa 'yon?
Ay, thank you at naitanong mo yan, Dr. Ervi. It really starts with the mother. Kung sa pagbubuntis, yung mother kumakain na ng gulay, yung flavors ng gulay, and nandun na siya sa amniotic fluid. Kaya, and then pag naduktungan sa breast milk, lahat ng kinakain ng ina, dumadaan siya sa human milk, and therefore, na-expose yung baby sa flavors. Kaya pagdating ng 6 months, binigyan mo siya ng gulay, willing siya. So kaya it really starts from the pregnancy.
Oo, kasi laging sinasabi ng mga nanay, ang hirap pakainin ng gulay. Ayaw ng gulay, di ba?
So, yung pala siya may kasalanan, hindi siya kumain.
Most likely, yes.
Doc, either one may answer this. Paano mo malalaman na this child is showing na stunted siya o bansot siya, hindi siya nagde-develop talaga as they should.
Okay, so it starts actually with weight faltering kasi mauunang mag-falter yung weight bago mag-falter yung height. So we said, so ganun ka-importante din yung monitoring, no? Basically, kahit weight at height lang, ideally monthly within that first year of life, na meron ng tinatawag na international standard. So, kung falling below that international standard, then that's the opportunity to intervene kasi pinakamabilis yung growth talaga itong first 2 years. Now, aside from that, magde-delay na rin yung developmental milestones such as we expect na meron na dapat monosyllables by age 6 months. So, mama, papa, pati yan madedelay. So, such as you expect somehow a 1-year-old child to already stand on his own and be able to walk with support. All these milestones also get delayed kung undernourished or stunted. And then even the social interaction also gets delayed. No, the child is not able to look eye to eye. And then immunity is delayed. So frequent yung illnesses ng bata.
Can you play catch up?
Yes. Yes, that's why we said the catch-up is really possible in the first 2 years of life. Kung hindi na-meet yung height for age by age 2 years, napakahirap na. Of course, we don't lose hope. Kaya nga, first 1,000 days plus, in-extend na nila hanggang 5 years. So you can play catch-up until 5 years. After the age of 5, mas mabagal na talaga yung growth. Nag-grow pa rin sila pero mabagal. Adolescent period na yung sunod na period of fast growth.
So sabihin natin yung ano ba ang Tagalog sa stunted growth?
Ang sakit sabihin pero bansot po.
Ayan. No, kasi stunted growth tayo kasi baka mamaya hindi tayo pala naintindihan ng ating mga tagapakinig. Di ba? So yun, masakit man pong sabihin, bansot. Ayan po. So, kung hindi naman po genetic ang reason, no? Malamang po ay dahil sa kulang sa pagkain yung mga nutrients na kinakailangan. So, anong kahalagahan ng ating breastfeeding, Dr. Jean, as a pediatrician?
Okay, yung grabe na talaga yung evidence ngayon that's showing at yung benefits talaga ng human milk both to the mother actually and to the child, no? So to the child, it will really assure complete nutrition up to 6 months of life. And then beyond 6 months, aside from yung diverse complementary diet, supposed to be continued breastfeeding until 2 years and beyond. Sa part naman ng mother, so I'm sure you see this, Dr. Irvi, kasi di ba you're an anesthesiologist particularly for pregnant women, that it prevents cancers actually in women, no? Breast cancer, even cervical cancer, kasi somehow pati yung immunity ng mother is improved. Of course, not to mention the very good attachment, that mother-infant bond that is also crucial during that first 2 years.
So yan, banding, no? So bandingan tayo.
Opo, I'm going to ask nga kasi may mga office mates ako na nakikita ko nagpa-pump sila for milk kasi they need to work na magre-report na dapat talaga sila pero they're still producing milk. So nagpa-pump sila and they bank that for the use of their. So nawawalaan ho ba ng ganung klaseng bonding yung sinasabi ninyo? Kasi i-feed na lang niya sa bottle. Pero it comes from her breast.
Yes, so we said for the working mother, that's the best actually that she can do, no, to express her milk, and then so that continued yung human milk, and then when she gets home, the mother actually can directly breastfeed actually while the mother is home. So in a way, that maternal infant bond is continued, and then in her absence, whoever is the adult providing the expressed human milk to the particular infant.
Thank you.
kailangan din nating siguro emphasize, no, na ang growing infant doon sa loob ng womb, no, ang una kasing talagang nade-develop ay yung brain. And importante yan, kaya nga sabi natin, no, pwede nating masabi na academically challenged yung mga ibang bata kapag hindi sila adequate yung nutrition ng nanay. Dahil kasi affected yung pag-grow ng kanilang brain. No? So,
yes, that's right. Kaya napaka-importante ng nutrition. It's not about the physical growth alone, pero tungkol nga dun sa brain development.
So, yan.
May mga unfortunate mothers na cannot produce milk. I'm hearing all this na hindi sila makapag breastfeed because nga hindi nagpo-produce ng milk. Paano naman po 'yun? Ano yung alternative way para makapagbigay ng proper nutrition doon sa bata?
Okay, unfortunately, Ma'am Bess, ibig sabihin yung first 24 hours nila, hindi sila na-provide ng support para makapag-breastfeed sila. Kasi supposed to be, if it was really started from birth, in fact, that first latch, na paglabas pa lang ng baby, the baby is already put on top of the mother, and then the baby, even if the baby cannot see clearly, will be able to find actually the nipple of the mother. And that's the reason why mas dark yung color ng areola at saka nipple. That's for that particular purpose. So, kung that first 24 to 48 hours, hindi na-initiate, yun talaga yung may challenge. But again, we don't lose hope. So, pwede namang i-support yung mother, make her drink really just more fluids, and then pwedeng mag-breast massage. There are ways of doing para mas makaproduce ng milk. Kasi the more the baby sucks, the more yung hormone sa brain magpo-produce ng hormone para So, hindi mangyayari na mauubos. Titigil yung human milk pag biglang nag-stop yung mother mag-breastfeed. Yun. That's when the milk actually stops. But while she continues to completely express her breast, all the more milk is produced, all the more hormones are triggered.
Naalala ko noon, kain ako ng kain ng munggo na may malunggay. Okay
Tama
ba yun?
yan. Tama yan. Yung malunggay may benefit talaga. And then just drinking more fluids, not necessarily drinking more milk. Yes.
Oh. So, importante talaga, no? Yung cycle, no? Yung cycle ng ating mga ginagawa para sa kalusugan ng ating mga sanggol. So,
Dr. Ervi, I wanted to say, you have so much more to share aside from being an advocate for health from the Philippine Medical Association, but in your own experience, no? Having had 8 children who are all so intelligent, all doctors, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow!
Diba? So, I think from that aspect, you can share what was your best practice in that first 2 years of life to ensure yung outcome na yan?
So talagang importante yung pagpapadede, pagpapasuso, no? Kasi nga, syempre yung kung ano rin yung kinakain mo, yun din yung magagamit ng sanggol, no? Pagsak niya ng milk. So, importante talaga yon. Ngayon nga, ang maganda noon, wala pa yung mga lactation room.
Yes.
Ngayon, talagang fully supported yung mga nagbe-breastfeed na mga mothers. Kasi may lactation room. Kung kahit saan punta ka sa mall, hindi ka matatakot na hindi makakapag-breastfeed yung baby, di ba? Tapos, ngayon, lahat ng support for, naalala ko noon, kung hindi ka pa nagpo-produce ng milk, pinapainom nila yung baby sa baso. Sabi ko ba, talaga namang meron ding meron talagang instinct yung bata na parang naglalap siya dun sa baso na maliit na may gatas. So God provides for everything that is good, no? So kailangan lang talaga na suportahan natin yung ating mga adhikain na yan para
yun yung para maka-avoid ng nipple confusion. So yung sinasabi ni Dr. Ervi na habang hindi mag-produce pa ng maraming milk, pwede naman kasing humingi sa ibang mother ng milk, pero sa baso binibigay. Kasi the moment you introduce a feeding bottle sa isang newborn baby, magugulo na siya kasi yung feeding bottle tumutulo lang dire-diretso yung milk. Unlike sa mother's breast, the baby has to have an active sucking actually. And therefore, pag na-expose mo na siya sa bottle, may nipple confusion. So to prevent that, that's why cup feeding is actually the recommended practice while the mother is trying to build a better milk supply.
Diba? Wow, marami talagang aspeto, no? Baka may tanong ka pa, Ma'am Bes.
Hindi.
Sasagutin
amazed
lahat
ako.
ni Jean.
Oo nga. Hindi, kasi ang daming information na, ngayon na-inspired na ako. Gusto ko na ata maging mother. Alam ko na paano to take care of a child. Pero, ma'am, kunyari, ito, mag-ano na tayo eh. We are in that phase na may mga medical mission tayo, may outreach tayo, para ma-fulfill natin ang ating first 1,000 days objective. Sa inyong part, sa Sampaloc, paano nyo po ito uumpisahan? For example, sinabi nyo na po na you have spoken to the barangays, and paano po are you going to talk to the mothers? Meron na po ba kayong may system na po ba kayo para ma-implement itong project natin?
Here's si Dr. Ervi muna from UST Medical Alumni Association.
So, magkakaroon po tayo ng medical mission sa July 6, no? Kung saan tong mga barangay na ating na-tap, no? Baka nga kulang ang isa o dalawang barangay lang. Baka kailangan tayo mag-spill out sa ibang barangays pa. Kasi importante po kasi dito ay yung makausap natin yung mga nanay na reproductive age group. Kaya buntis sila ngayon o hindi sila buntis ngayon, tapos kaanak lang, di ba? So, yun ang importante na mabigyan natin ng informasyon. Tapos, yung sustainability nito, yun yung ating importante ring malaman kasi tutulong ang barangay dapat to siguro mga sari-sari stores nila para doon tayo pwedeng mag-recommend na doon nila kukunin yung ating mga supplements kung kinakailangan. So, aside from the medical mission kasi, yung medical mission para sa may mga sakit na bata, meron tayong portion para doon sa mga baby, ika nga.
And then, duduktungan natin yan ng monitoring, like maybe being able to monitor them like every 3 months to be able to track yung hindi lang yung weight at height, kundi pati yung developmental milestones nila. And we said to be able to provide also some assistance pagdating dun sa mga micronutrients and see. So parang ganun, it's really a collaborative effort of various groups to try to give them a better chance.
At itong mga sinasabi niyo pong nutritious para full of mga pagkain full of nutrients for the mother, they are all available. Hindi ho ba easily accessible para sa mga magulang na bumili ng ganito, kung ano man yung ituturo niyo po sa kanila kung ano po ang mga dapat nilang mga or recommended kung anong kakainin nila. Kaya tulad na sinasabi niyong pinggang Pinoy, may mga ano po tayo, no? They're all readily accessible. Ang contents,
Yes, supposed to be readily accessible sa palengke. Because we said we're talking naman about whole foods, no? Na hanggat maaari, talagang as I said, uulitin ko lang, so merong yung tinatawag na go food. So yun pa rin yung either rice yan, o kaya pwede rin namang mga root crops tulad ng patatas, kamote, corn. Tapos kahit anong source ng protein, usually mas mura nga yung mga vegetable source, munggo, at saka yung mga ibang klaseng beans, itlog. Pero kung pwede rin animal source food tulad ng isda o manok. And then yung mga gulay, no? So both dahong gulay at saka yung mga colored na gulay at saka fruit. So basically, it's really whole foods. And as much as possible nga, avoiding processed foods. Kasi ang nakakalungkot nito, Ma'am Bes, ang mura at makikita natin talaga sa mga sari-sari stores, kung titingnan natin, puro siya mga mga processed foods, mga junk food.
Kasi madali siya. Madaling i-prepare eh. Opo.
So halimbawa, Jean, may mga instances na, alam mo na, sabi nga natin, mura, no, madaling bilhin. Let's say, pansit canton. Ano bang pwede natin gawing remedyo doon para madagdagan naman ang value nung kinakain ng bata, no? Kung sakali, kasi mahilig din ako sa pansit eh. Pero paano ba natin yung lalagyan ng dagdag sangkap?
Okay, sige. So, since siya yung pinaka-common nga, yung instant noodles, no, na binibili ng mga tao. So, yung instant noodle, ano lang siya, di ba? Parang carbohydrate lang siya. So, pwedeng magbiyak ng isang itlog para yun na yung protina. At kung pwedeng mag-chop ng kahit anong dahong gulay, ihalo dun sa, and kung pwedeng isang may colored, pwede rin naman mag-chop ng carrots or pwedeng nakahiwalay ang isang prutas. Yun. And then, for young children, bukod sa, syempre, gumamit ng konting oil, 'di ba, sa pagluluto, pero pwede pa ring magdagdag ng isang kutsaritang vegetable oil to every bowl of food. Kasi parang these young children really need more fat. So, kahit na up to 5 teaspoons per day, okay lang po yan. Kahit ano pong vegetable oil, ang pinaka-common po na ginagamit ng ating mga kababayan is actually yung coconut oil na nabibili sa palengke. So, it can be added to the instant noodle para naman mas maging nutrient dense siya.
So maganda rin yung coconut oil, di ba? Kasi hindi siya
Yes.
dumidikit sa mga arteries natin.
That's right.
Ganun pa. So yung mga canola oil na andyan.
Well, that's vegetable oil then. But since ang pinaka-common nga at pinaka-mura actually is coconut oil, it actually is a healthy vegetable oil. So yung binanggit ni Dr. Ervi, yung ginagawa in the first 2 days, prevention siya ng chronic disease later in life.
Yes,
So yung
tama.
sinasabi niya, it will help prevent. Di ba ang leading cause of death natin, heart disease at saka stroke. Makakatulong sa pag-prevent.
Nako.
Dami mo nang nalaman, Bes.
Ang dami nga
Parang
eh.
nag-attend ng medical school.
Kaya. Tama yan. I was going to say that, parang nag-earn ako ng some units. Pero dito po sa ating medical mission, may mga kasama na tayo, syempre, mga nutritionists, right? Na sila rin ang magtuturo kung paano at ano ang dapat mga nasa food group natin.
Yes, at saka yung monitoring, yung pagsukat para merong baseline na information and then pwedeng at periodic intervals. Like I was saying, pwede namang every 3 months parang mababalikan sila.
Palagay niyo po, they will cooperate. How likely are they to go back to yung etong ganitong natin po? How do you call this? Interventions. How likely are they going to ask for assistance or consult with us kung paano po? Sa inyong experience po.
Siguro from Dr. Ervi, you've been running a lot of these programs. Anong best practice para bumalik sila?
Ang pinaka-importante kasi is accessibility, no? Dapat madali siyang hanapin. Gaya nga nung sabi natin kanina, if you'll make it available sa mga sari-sari store, no? Turuan din natin yung may-ari ng sari-sari store na eto po, no, sila na mag-offer, no, kung maaari nating magawa 'yon. I think when we go back and monitor, siguro hopefully successful tayo in our intervention. So yun nga po ang ating importanteng talagang tututukan is the sustainability.
I think that's why we're also we've liaised actually with the health centers kasi where they will access their health care will still be actually in the health centers. And therefore, it's accessible, it's free, lalo na ngayon with the implementation of the universal healthcare, parang they are entitled to a minimum free package actually of services.
Meron.
So, kabit-kabit po yan, no? So, yung Universal Healthcare Act po na talagang sa umpisa pa lang din, no? Wala pang sakit. So, prevention, tapos promotion of health, yan ang importante kasi pag nando na tayo sa curative, no, yung may sakit na, medyo mahirap ng bumawi, no. So, yun.
So hopefully, let's say 5 years from now, may makikita tayo ng improvement sa mga, at least no, sana may konti man lang na tumaas yung mga angkas nila. We hope this will happen kasi nakakainggit yung mga ibang countries na hindi naman ganun din kayaman, makikita mo yung mga bata masaya, masigla, at siguro magaling sila marunong sila mag-reason out, nakakainggit yun. So ang fervent wish ko is ganun din tayo. Kasi hindi naman hindi mo kailangan na maging mayaman ka para makapag ka ng healthy children, to raise healthy children, hindi ho ba?
Alam niyo ang importante?
Ano po?
Stimulation po ng brain. Dapat laging sila, yung laging may ginagawa, no? Kasi nai-improve yung kanilang mga kakayahan. So, nagiging more confident sila sa kanilang mga gawain, 'di ba? Pati sa pag-aaral nila, nagiging sila, confident sila na they can tackle kung ano man yung ibibigay ng mga signatura sa kanila, no? Kasi yun. Tapos syempre, maraming usapan, interaction ng mga magkakaklase.
At sa bahay din, hindi lang sila naka-stare sa screen.
So that's very relevant because it's a problem now, yung screen dependence. Kaya as you've mentioned, yung interaction, yung serve and return, yung a parent and a child really just interacting during that first 2 years of life, na kung pwede talagang zero screen. Kasi ang dami ng studies na nagsasay, if in the first 2 years, nakababad sa screen, the brain architecture changes. Kaya tumaas din significantly talaga yung mga may developmental delay, yung speech delay, pati yung autism spectrum disorder, tsaka attention deficit disorder. So, kung pwede talaga zero screen in the first 2 years of life, after the age of 2, kung pwedeng 30 minutes lang yan, and then in childhood, kung pwedeng there's a 2-hour limit talaga to recreational screen time. Kasi what matters really is a direct interaction.
So, napakahalaga rin ng yung interaction talaga kasi hindi mo naman makausap yung telepono, di ba?
So, ang mga bata ngayon parang they're wired. They know how to operate phones, iPhones, smartphones. They know how to operate computers. They know how to operate the television. Wired sila. Pero kasi siguro nakikita nila, mabilis nga sila mag-absorb kasi siguro nakikita nila. And then, doon na sila na-entertain. Pero talaga, magandang pakinggan yung may interaction. Not necessarily with the parents because the parents probably are working. Yung may makita silang mga tao na adult ang conversation, ganyan. Siguro po. At saka sabi nga ninyo, Dr. Irvin, na dapat may brain stimulation. So yung brain stimulation will be in what? Toys, being outside of their homes, may nakikita silang different landscape other than their house, ganyan for example, na po. Oo.
That's right, Ma'am Bes. So yung sinasabi nilang green spaces, kahit ano, basta makakita ng ng puno, ng dahon, bring them out in the open. And then it will also improve the immune system kasi may expose yung mga bata sa mga bugs in nature which are not disease producing para makapag-respond. And it can be very simple, kahon-kahon, hindi kailangan expensive na toy eh. Basta anything that the child can actually create on his own, kahit mga lata yan or mga ganon. So parang ganon. And pwedeng free play lang and then pwede din namang adult-directed play. Ma'am Bes, yung minention mo kanina, no, na bakit nga ba yung mga ibang countries, totoo yan, ano? Those countries like, example, Vietnam, South Korea, wherein they really put Indonesia, they put really resources into the first 2,000 days, pati yung kanilang GDP nag-improve. Kasi nga, correlated siya sa height. Kasi correlated with height is brain development. So if productivity of people improve, it follows that the economy will also improve.
Oo nga ho. It's a domino effect na nasa tiyan ka pa lang pero meron na palang effect once you get out. Tapos you're raised, you go to school. Ang daming effect na niyaan. Lahat-lahat parang circle siya. And it can only be good once you've taken care of the mother and the child once the child is still in the womb up to this certain up to 5 years sabi niyo po no ho. Ang laki po ng contribution niya sa society pag ganun lang. And you don't have to have much to have this kind of environment. Sana maano natin yan, mabring natin itong message natin sa maraming mga sulok-sulok ng Pilipinas. I'm sure they're very receptive to this kind of message also. They just need directions, for example, siguro po ano ho.
So, kagaya sa Philippine Medical Association, isa po sa aming mga tinutukan ay ang mga katutubo. Mga katutubo kasi we have 110 tribes, no, in the Philippines is speaking 187 different Philippine-based languages. Ganong karami, ganong ka-rich ang ating language, no? So, inaabot po namin sila, no? In the hope na mabigay namin lahat yung mga pangangailangan nila, hindi lang sa pagkain, pati sa bakuna, sa gamot, yun, alam nila na may kalinga, so isa yon sa ating natutukan, no?
Receptive sila sa ganito po.
Opo. Ang importante po, kakausapin natin yung kanilang, yung chairman, yung head ng tribe. So, receptive po sila kasi merong mga iba na, let's say, alam nyo, let's say yung mga nasa sila, sa South, no po? Pero when they come to Manila, no, nagiging urban poor na sila. So hindi lang sila katutubo, kundi nagiging urban poor. And in many places, kulang sila ng good water source, no? Tapos yun, kailangan na tutukan natin yung kanilang nutrition as well. Para holistic, huli lahat.
Lahat. Oo nga. Gusto ko yan eh. Gusto ko yung itakal yung na yan, ng topic na yan. Kasi sabi niyo very rich tayo dito sa languages na yan. So, in effect, kung pupunta kayo sa one particular part, you also need to learn kung ano yung mga cultural beliefs nila. May mga kanya-kanya silang peculiarities ang mga kultura nito. So, pero lahat ba sila, kunyari, alam nila paano mag-breastfeed, wala silang doon, receptive lahat sila dito sa ganitong practice, for example?
You have to meet them in their terms. So, kailangan po na tuturo lang natin sa kanila, tapos sila po ang bahalang mag-adapt sa kung papaano ang kanilang gawi at gawa. Yan po importante. Kasi kagaya natin, hindi naman natin pwedeng basta itulak yung kanilang ating belief sa kanila, di po ba? So yan po ay kaya yan nga pinagpapaalam natin sa kanilang mga heads para maging successful yung ating programs. So nakipag-ugnayan po kami sa National Commission for Indigenous Peoples. Kasi yung kanilang Indigenous Peoples Rights po ay last 2022 parang nag 25 years na po. So importante 'yon.
So pero kasi sila they form a significant number din sa population natin, kaya talaga dapat ma-reach out to them also.
Out of 109 million Filipinos, 14 to 17 million po are katutubo.
So ang laking malaki, significant ang numbers nila.
Opo.
Kailangan ng ganung klaseng edukasyon. Kasi it all starts hindi ho ba? It all starts with that pagbata ka pa. So nutrition muna.
Nasa sanggol pa lang po.
Sanggol pa lang. So nade-develop ang brain mo to be critical, napaprocess nila, madali sila mag-process ng mga bagay-bagay information.
Gusto ko tanong kay Jean. Jean, kasi balak natin din na yung mga schools, di ba? Kasi tingin natin yung mga nasa elementary schools, ang mga parents nila are in the reproductive age group. So,
pwede ako sumingit. Pwede po sumingit.
Sige po.
Kasi sa ating advocacy sa yung UST Alumni Association Incorporated, ang advocacy po natin dito sa first 1,000 Days of a Child, nagre-reach out po tayo sa mga, in fact, eskwelahan po. Unang yung meron po tayong tinatawag na mga spheres. And one of the sphere is in Laur, Nueva Ecija. We've been there and we've tapped 4 schools. In fact, 4 elementary schools. And another one in La Loma. We are going to try other schools. Kaya lang syempre medyo may constraints pa tayo, time and logistics. Pero we'll try to expand this as we go along. So opo, we recognize that ang talagang dapat nating i-target ay yung mga sa elementary, kasi nga yung mga mothers mga potential pa silang maging mothers pa.
Meron tayong pwedeng makatulong diyan kasi
Sino po?
Philippine Association for School Physicians in School Health. So naka-distribute din sila all over the Philippines yung mga doktor ng mga elementary, high school. So pwede po yan na atin din silang matap. Naghihintay lang sila ng tapik.
Oo nga, no.
Ang presidente nila or immediate past president po ay doktor din natin sa UST.
Ganun po. Hindi naman ho siya si Dr. Maria Minerva Kalimag.
Hindi po.
Mag-usap po tayo pag po.
So in the schools, yes, it's an opportunity to actually talk to the parents through the parent-teacher association meetings, isa yan. And then also to school children, kasi yung term nga na ginagamit ngayon yung first 1,000 days plus, kaya siya may plus. Yung una is, as we said, yung up to 5 years, pero may tinatawag din ngayon na for up to 8,000 days, and that's about up to 10 years of age. So still, even children actually who are already in schools can actually still be malaki pa ring help. For example, yung mga meal programs while they are in school, kasi that's one way to make sure that they have at least one healthy meal per day. Malaking bagay, malaking tulong na for their concentration as well as their brain development. So it is possible still to run programs within the elementary schools.
So nakakatuwa po, no? Sa nakaraang isang oras ay marami tayong napag-usapan, mga karunungan na nakuha sa pakikipagtalakayan natin sa isa't isa. So siguro bago tayo mag-end, no? Pasalamatan muna natin ang ating mga sponsors, UST Alumni Association Incorporated and College of Education Alumni Foundation Incorporated for today's show. So, tuloy-tuloy lang po ang ating mga magagandang usapan. Ma'am, Dr. Jean, meron ka pang gustong banggitin?
All that I want to say is the time to act is now.
So yan ang ating call to action.
Mabigat, short, and very concise, pero very meaningful. So with that, we say here at Bridges,
we build bridges of faith,
bridges of hope,
and bridges of love.
Mabuhay po, and enjoy the rest of the evening to our viewers. Bye, and to you. Maraming salamat.
Maraming salamat po. Kita-kits.
Kita-kits, yes.